What's up? My name is Ken Dumbo, the MC with the sauce. Don't forget to subscribe to J. Cool.
By looking at the recent concerns raised by the public regarding the disappearance and reappearance of 61 trucks or containers which had carried drugs for Zamsa from Beira in Mozambique and were supposed to be at Zamsa, and we later found out that they were at a private warehouse in Makeni. And obviously, we'd like to get your comment on the subsequent suspension of the Director General. What's your comment on this incident?
Well, thank you very much, and let me begin first of all by offering, as a ministry, on behalf of the ministry, our greatest condolences on the untimely demise of the Director General for the Independent Broadcasting Authority, a person who is part of the fraternity within which I operate as a media. So we offer our deepest condolences as a ministry and wish the family God's strength in these trying moments. Now, coming to your issue that you have raised, the question of the 61 trucks at Zamsa, I'd like to indicate first of all that this is a matter that has attracted public discussion, public concern, for which as government we have had occasion on the floor of the House in Parliament to pronounce ourselves through a ministerial statement by the Minister of Health, which led to now this whole discussion, because the Minister had to bring out this matter into the public domain, which otherwise the public were not aware of. This shows for me and for us an open manner in which we run public affairs, because this is not a matter that anyone fished out from social media, someone fished out from a newspaper or anywhere. The minister took this matter to the floor of the House to alert the nation on what was viewed as an irregularity, so that the nation knows what is going on, and through that ministerial statement an indication was given that action was going to be taken, and that such action has since been taken, and we do expect that the due process of the law will be followed to ensure that whoever will be found culpable in those transactions that have been deemed to be outside the normal purview of the operations of Zamsa, that such actions will actually lead to fruition of the culpability of those who are involved.
You said this shows the transparency of yoga. We seeing that it's the minister that brought it up in Parliament. But if you look at the time period at which this containers have been at that private warehouse, it raises a lot of eyebrows, because first 16 containers have been there since January, and we have the rest of the consignment arriving there 3 months ago. And if you look at the timeline, they've been there for a long time, almost half a year. Isn't that call for concern from the general public as to what was going to happen to those containers?
Well, I think that there is no hiding place in this particular issue, that the time that it took for those containers to be reviewed to the public, to have been in a place that we were not supposed to be, was long. And that is the reason why action was taken. That is why the Director General of Zamsa was suspended, to pave way for investigation, so that can get to the core and root of this matter, to understand how this happened. I will go ahead and indicate here to say, relating to information within my possession and knowledge, that could have taken place to mitigate for administrative challenges. But I'm not here to defend Zamsa. They must be able to defend themselves, because all of us, we are here to be accountable to the public, and each and all of us as public office holders, we must be able to account for our actions. And that is why the minister in charge of that ministry took the stance they took, because as a supervising minister, she has the presence within which she can oversee certain things happen, and that there is delegated authority from the president. All of us, we operate on the basis of delegated authority as public service workers, but each one has a mandate to manage affairs within their mandate. And when something has been found wanting within your mandate, then you must be made to account. And that is why the ZAMSA Director General is being made to account for what they should have taken, due trust and care under their mandate.
Minister, this is a government-to-government deal, and as you've highly, stipulated that all of you ministers, the buck stops with you at the end of the day in your respective ministries. This raises a lot of dust because Zambians still have the memory of the honeybee scandal fresh in their minds. And we have you who criticize that issue in opposition, strongly when a situation like that, arose. But if you look at the time frame, and the buck stops with the minister at the end of the day, if you look at the time frame and how much time, those containers spent at a private warehouse, don't you think, Zambians have a point here when they start crying foul regarding the behavior of some, and I'll single-handedly point out that the then Minister of Health, how this thing was handled, and not to shift blame to, the DG of ZAMSA, because the buck stops with you. This is a government-to-government deal. This is $24 million of taxpayers' money that's entrusted to your ministry. The buck stops with you. Is it right to shift blame to a Director General that reports to you at the end of the day? A board that reports to you, but we know that the board hasn't yet been appointed at ZAMSA, so it's a Director General that reports to a minister.
Thank you very much. And when you say that the buck stops at the minister, I agree, because that is the supervising entity of that particular ministry and that particular agency of government. But as much as the buck stops at her, she has somebody, an entity, which is charged with the responsibility to look after the affairs, in this particular case, of receiving medicines on behalf of government, storage of medicines and distribution thereof. And therefore, for her part, once it came to her knowledge that there was a misnomer, she had to come out in the public to be able to indicate to the nation what had gone wrong. In fact, I do commend her for that, because otherwise some other people would have sought a way to sweep that under the carpet. But because she was, in my view, and I must declare interest here, in my view, it's a personal opinion, she was not complicit to those kind of transactions. She had to come out in the open so that whoever was responsible should be known by the public. Otherwise, I would not say here I should absolve her of the fact that the buck stops at her. Indeed, it does stop.
7 months later, Minister?
Yes,
7 months later?
Yes, of course. I mean, it was not done with the consent of herself. It wasn't done with the consent of herself. There are a lot of things that happen in these ministries that by the time you get to know that this has happened, sometimes it's a little bit late, but better late than never. She took action, and corrective and remedial measures are being put in place.
What do you mean when you say in this ministry it takes time for you to know? You are the man in charge. You have to know what's going on under your portfolio. How does the information reach you 7 months later?
Exactly. That is why I'm saying sometimes certain things, not all things, certain things, it takes time for you to know what is going on the ground. And that is exactly what is transpired. And the consolation in this matter, Peter, is that this is a matter which is already under active investigation to ensure that whoever was culpable, including the minister, action will be taken. That is the kind of a president that we are working with. So there is no cover-up. This is not the end of this matter. This is the beginning of this matter, to ensure that everything that is related to that anomaly is going to be rectified.
We've seen reshuffles in cabinet, Minister. How would you address speculation that the recent cabinet reshuffle by President Hakainde indicates a loss of confidence in some of his cabinet ministers?
Well, I wouldn't want to characterize the reshuffles in terms of the president losing confidence in a particular minister, because in terms of the appointing authority, the authority to appoint a minister, the authority to hire and fire, there is no requirement that when the president is appointing a particular minister, there is a particular set of reasons that must be advanced to the nation to say, I'm appointing this person because of these qualities, because of this. They rarely give reasons in a similar manner. And this is traditional and customary. It is not happening for the first time. When a president decides to fire, when a president decides to reshuffle a minister, they don't give reasons. This is precedented. This is customary. It's traditional. It is within the executive, authority so to do. And except that this particular reshuffle, particularly to do with the Minister of Lands and the Minister of Health, has come at a contentious moment. And so it is understandable if people are going to align it with the loss of confidence with the president or some questionable misnomer or transactions in this regard the Ministry of Health. It is understandable because there is a coincidental event to the reshuffle. However, the issue is that the reshuffle itself is within the purview and mandate of the president.
Is it only coincidental, or maybe this is just a reflection of the performance of some of the cabinet ministers that we have?
Well, of course, and I think other than viewing it in the negative sense, I think that it should be viewed in the positive sense.
What positives can you pick from a minister that, with the public, have the opinion is underperforming in one ministry and is shifted to another ministry? What positives can you pick from that?
And that is exactly what I'm saying here, that it should be viewed in a positive, because whereas one would want to link whatever has transpired under the Ministry of Health to the minister, the former Minister of Health. If the president, who is well informed, not just by public opinion, by public speculation, but by government-mandated institutions as to what exactly transpired in that particular ministry, is well versed with all that information beforehand, but because he's listening to the antenna of public opinion, decides to make a reshuffle in order to, rekindle public confidence in that minister, but without necessarily having to take an action that is so drastic, because the information before him suggests that she has not been found wanting, and decides to bring another person to act in that position and redeploy her in another portfolio because of her competences, her experiences, the worth she brings to the table. I think it must be viewed positively. I'll tell you something I have known with President HH, having worked with him for more than 20 years at very close quarters. He is not someone who gambles. He is not someone who appeases friends. He is not someone who is going to take an action just because people have spoken, and just because I want to preserve my friendship with this particular minister, let me bring this minister here. He does not have that time. For all those who have had the occasion to know him, he's a man of action, and he maintains only friendship that is based on hard work, decency, honesty, and delivering for our people. And for all of us who are working with him, he maintains every single time. There is one thing he maintains each time we have gone to all the cabinet meetings we have attended from 2021. If you go and check in the minutes, there is only one statement which is consistent over 3 years. Any one of you colleagues who are in cabinet with me and you are found to be involved in corruption, you are found to be violating the law, you are on your own. That is a no-go area.
Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, J Cool, and turn on the notification bell, cause I'm gonna see you in the next video.